Can your mind travel through dimensions? Have you ever had that strange feeling that there's more to reality than what you can see, hear, and touch? A sense, deep down, that this physical world, with all its routines and rules, is just one layer of something much, much bigger. It's a feeling that can pop up in our quietest moments or most vivid dreams, a sense that we are more than just flesh and bone. What if the greatest unexplored territory isn't out there in space, but right inside your own mind? What if the curtain between our world and other realities was thinner than we think, and the key to peeking behind it is your own consciousness? We're going to explore the ancient spiritual belief that your mind isn't stuck here, that it can journey to other realities. We'll also look at how modern science, in its own strange way, might just be starting to ask questions that echo what mystics have been saying for centuries. This isn't just a thought experiment, it's a new way to look at who you are and the universe you think you know. Section 1. The Ancient Map of Consciousness. For thousands of years all across the world, different spiritual traditions have shared a pretty radical idea. You are not your body. From ancient Egyptian beliefs about the soul, the Ba, leaving the physical form, to Hindu and Buddhist philosophies, the idea that our true self can travel beyond our physical limits is a cornerstone of human spirituality. These weren't just bedtime stories. They were treated as maps to a reality far more vast and layered than what we see every day. Two big ideas pop up again and again in these ancient maps: soul travel and astral projection. Soul travel is usually described not as a physical trip, but as a massive shift in awareness. It's the idea that your consciousness can expand to connect with higher planes of existence or a universal source. People who practice this describe it as a natural ability we all have, something that can be developed through things like deep meditation to find a greater sense of purpose. Astral projection is the more famous of the two, a term that really took off with theosophists in the 19th century. This is described as an intentional out-of-body experience. The belief is that a non-physical astral body separates from the physical one to explore a realm called the astral plane, a dimension of thought, dreams, and spirit. People who claim to have done this talk about floating above their own bodies, instantly visiting faraway places or exploring vibrant worlds. Now these ideas directly challenge the mainstream scientific view that consciousness is just a byproduct of brain activity. Instead, these ancient traditions suggest something different, that the brain isn't the creator of consciousness, but more like a receiver. Think of it like a complex radio. The music isn't made inside the radio. The broadcast already exists as a signal, and the radio just tunes into the right frequency. This is a powerful analogy, but it's important to remember that most neuroscientists today believe consciousness is an emergent property of the brain's complex neural networks. Still, you have to wonder, what if consciousness is a universal field, and our brain is the instrument that just tunes into this specific channel we call reality? Section 2. The Quantum Bridge. It's easy to hear these stories and write them off as fantasy or just really vivid dreams. And to be clear, there is no definitive scientific proof that consciousness can leave the body or that an astral plane exists. Neuroscientists often explain these out-of-body experiences as complex brain events, maybe triggered by trauma, a lack of oxygen, or the brain failing to correctly process sensory information. But here's where the story gets really interesting. While one part of science tries to explain these things away, another field, right on the cutting edge of our understanding, is showing us a universe that is far stranger than we ever thought. I'm talking about quantum physics. Now let's be very clear. Quantum physics does not prove astral projection, but it does shatter our everyday common-sense view of the world and offers some fascinating philosophical parallels to these old mystical ideas. Take the observer effect. At the quantum level, the simple act of measuring a particle changes how it behaves. It's almost as if reality waits for a conscious observer before it chooses what to be. This has led some to speculate that consciousness might be more than just a passive witness. It might be an active participant in reality. Then you have the many worlds interpretation. This theory, first floated by physicist Hugh Everett III in the 1950s, suggests that every quantum event causes the universe to branch off. Every single possible outcome of a situation happens, just in its own separate parallel universe. It's a wild idea that suggests there could be a nearly infinite number of worlds coexisting with ours. Could these other worlds be what mystics were describing as different planes or dimensions? It's pure speculation, but it's fun to think about. There is currently no scientific evidence that a person's consciousness can perceive or travel between these quantum branches. Some physicists are even exploring the controversial idea that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon. A theory by Nobel laureate Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff proposes that consciousness comes from quantum processes inside tiny structures in our brain's neurons called microtubules. This idea, called OR, is highly debated. But some recent experiments have shown that anesthesia might work by affecting these same microtubules, which lends some tentative support to the idea that they're important for conscious experience. If consciousness is fundamentally quantum, it could open up a whole new can of worms about how we're connected to the universe. Section 3. The keys to other worlds. So, if we entertain the idea that other dimensions might exist, and that our consciousness has some deep, weird connection to reality, how would someone even try to open that door? Moving from cool theory to personal experience, ancient traditions and modern explorers suggest a few keys. These are all designed to quiet the noise of the physical world and try to tune the radio of the mind to new frequencies. The first and most important key is meditation. Meditation is basically the practice of silencing the constant chatter of your mind. By focusing on your breath or just being present, you can learn to detach from the stream of thoughts and feelings that keep you locked into this reality. Many believe that this is the essential first step for any kind of inner exploration. The second key is lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is when you wake up inside the dream and realize you're dreaming. This awareness turns you from a passive character in a movie to the director. The dream world becomes your personal playground and a safe training ground for your consciousness. You can learn to fly, change the scene, or even try to push beyond the dream itself. Many practitioners see lucid dreaming as a gateway to an out-of-body experience. A third, more advanced key is often called focused intention. This is the engine behind many astral projection techniques. It involves getting into a state of deep relaxation, what some call mind awake, body asleep, where your body is totally still but your mind is sharp and alert. People use visualization techniques, like imagining they're climbing a rope to pull their non-physical self out of their physical body to try and initiate the experience. This stage is often described as coming with strange sensations, like intense vibrations, or feeling paralyzed, which practitioners see as signs that a separation is close. A common thread through all these practices is the need to let go of fear. Adherents of these practices believe fear is the anchor that snaps you back into your physical body, the static that messes up the signal. This inner journey seems to require courage and a real willingness to step away from the familiar. This is a journey of personal exploration, and everyone's experiences and beliefs are unique. The path inward is not the same for any two people. So, I want to ask you, have you ever had an experience you couldn't explain? A dream that felt more real than your waking life? A moment during meditation where you felt connected to something vast and limitless? Share your story, your thoughts, and your questions in the comments below. Let's create a community of explorers here, learning from each other as we navigate this incredible inner cosmos together. Section 4. Navigating the inner cosmos. Going on this kind of journey isn't just about cosmic tourism or seeing strange new worlds. At its heart, it's a path to understanding yourself on a deeper level. The ancient texts suggest the real purpose of soul travel is to gain wisdom, understand our place in the universe, and connect with our true, higher self. The experiences people report after what they believe to be out-of-body travel are often deeply transformative. They talk about feeling an overwhelming sense of peace, unconditional love, and a feeling of being connected to everything that dissolves their fear of death. These subjective reports are powerful, even though neuroscience would likely attribute the experience itself to a disruption of multisensory processing in the brain. Of course, the journey isn't always smooth sailing. Some spiritual traditions warn about encountering negative energies or entities, and they stress the importance of protection and having a positive intention. But even these challenges are often seen as part of the process, chances to face our own fears and grow. The goal isn't just to leave the body, but to come back with insight, healing, and a bigger understanding of who you are. It's about realizing that maybe the limits we feel are self-imposed, and that we might have access to a reality that goes beyond our physical form. Conclusion. We started by asking if there's more to reality than what our senses tell us. We've seen that for thousands of years, mystics and seekers from all over the world have answered with a huge yes. They left us maps, not of the outer world, but of the inner one. They taught that consciousness is the ultimate vehicle, one that might just be capable of visiting realms beyond our wildest imagination. And now, science, through the wonderfully weird lens of quantum mechanics, is starting to paint a picture of the universe that, at the very least, doesn't slam the door on these ideas. It's a universe of hidden probabilities, and one where the observer seems to matter a great deal. We're at a fascinating point where ancient wisdom and future science are starting to have a conversation. The ultimate truth of these experiences, though, remains a personal journey, an exploration that can only happen in the laboratory of your own mind. The journey isn't outward to the stars, but inward, to the very nature of consciousness itself. The only question is, where will you choose to go first?